The world awoke to a headline that turned heads, one that would ripple across continents and spark conversations in every corner of the globe. Study reveals Filipinos speak the most authentic English in Asia. The news spread like wildfire, appearing on screens and in print everywhere, igniting curiosity and pride. Suddenly, the Philippines, long overlooked in linguistic circles, was thrust into the global spotlight. People everywhere wanted to know, what made Filipino English so special? Newsrooms buzzed, social media exploded, and everyone asked, what does authentic mean? Is it about accent, grammar, or is there something deeper at play? The debate was on. The story wasn't just academic, it was personal, challenging assumptions about what it means to truly communicate. For many, it was a moment of reflection and pride. In offices and cafes, debates raged. Some clung to old ideas of perfect English, while others sensed a new, more human dimension, one that valued warmth, empathy, and real connection over rigid rules. The headline suggested that the heart of a language isn't in flawless speech, but in genuine connection. It was about understanding, kindness, and the ability to make others feel welcome. The world leaned in, curious and hopeful. People from different backgrounds began to see language in a new light, inspired by the Filipino example. Suddenly, people everywhere wanted to experience Filipino English firsthand. They wanted to hear its warmth, to feel its sincerity, and to learn from its unique blend of cultures. The story resonated because it promised something rare, warmth and kindness in a divided digital age. It reminded the world that language is more than words. It's about building bridges. The Philippines, known for its beauty and resilience, was now celebrated for its linguistic heart. Its people became ambassadors of a new kind of English, one rooted in humanity. The journey to understand this truth was just beginning, and the world was eager to follow where it would lead. In Ohio, far from the global buzz and the constant hum of city life, there exists a quiet that settles over the town like a gentle blanket. Within this stillness, John Miller felt a deep and persistent loneliness, a silence that echoed through his days. A retired English teacher, John once found joy in grammar and literature, especially when sharing stories and laughter with his late wife Mary. Their evenings were filled with books, conversation, and the comfort of companionship. Since her passing, his days became quiet, his conversations brief and empty, the house echoing with memories rather than voices. The world around him spoke in efficient, transactional phrases, never truly connecting, always in a hurry, always moving on. He missed the warmth of real conversation, the kind that made him feel seen and understood, the kind that lingered long after the words had faded. Despite his mastery of English, John realized perfect grammar didn't bring comfort or understanding. The rules he'd taught for decades now felt hollow. He could articulate his loneliness, put it into eloquent sentences, but words alone weren't enough to fill the void. He longed for connection, for a language that went beyond correctness, a language of empathy, of presence, of genuine care. Evenings were the hardest, the silence in his home a constant reminder of what he'd lost, the emptiness growing deeper as the sun set. He spoke to the empty room, hoping for an answer, but the words just hung in the air, unanswered and fading. John saw that his expertise in English had failed him where it mattered most, when it came to healing his heart. He knew the rules, but he'd forgotten how to build meaningful connections, how to reach out and let others in. The weight of this realization pressed on him, a quiet ache that words could never quite express. John grew increasingly dissatisfied with the shallow communication around him. He noticed conversations were rushed, people distracted, and genuine exchanges rare. The art of conversation, he feared, was dying, replaced by sound bites and social pleasantries. He longed for warmth, for words that built bridges instead of walls. Driven by this longing, John began exploring how other cultures communicated. He read about societies where language fostered community and respect. His academic curiosity became a personal quest. Was there a place where words truly connected people? He was determined to find a language that healed loneliness, not just conveyed information. One late night, John stumbled upon the viral headline, "Filipinos speak the most authentic English in Asia." Skeptical at first, he read on, intrigued by the idea of authenticity beyond accent or grammar. The article described Filipino English as warm, polite, and relationship-centered. Phrases like po and opo showed respect. Gentle, indirect speech avoided offense. English in the Philippines, he learned, was used to express care and empathy. John watched videos of Filipinos speaking English, smiling, engaging, connecting. Their sincerity struck him. It was the opposite of the transactional exchanges he knew. Expatriates wrote about overwhelming kindness, often expressed through English. A seed of hope took root in John's heart. Filipino English seemed like the antidote to his loneliness. For the first time in years, he felt a flicker of excitement. Maybe, halfway across the world, he could find the words that truly mattered. The idea grew into a decision. John would travel to the Philippines. Friends and family were surprised, but he was resolute. This was a pilgrimage, not a vacation. He left his grammar books behind, determined to experience language, not analyze it. The flight was a time for reflection. He thought of Mary, imagining her encouragement. Landing in Manila was overwhelming, noisy, vibrant, alive. For a moment, anxiety crept in, but he remembered his purpose. He wasn't a tourist, he was a seeker, searching for the language of kindness. With a deep breath, he stepped into the city, ready to listen and learn. He felt a sense of purpose he hadn't known in years. This journey was about connection, not correctness. He was ready to unlearn old rules and embrace a new way of understanding. The adventure had begun. John was open to whatever the Philippines and its people had to teach him. John stood on the bustling sidewalk, the city alive with neon lights and the hum of traffic. He raised his hand to hail a taxi, his heart pounding with a mix of nerves and excitement. The air was thick with anticipation as he wondered what this new city would bring. The taxi pulled up, and the driver, Rico, greeted him with a wide, genuine smile. "Good evening, sir. Welcome to Manila," he said, his voice warm and inviting, instantly making John feel less like a stranger. The respectful use of "sir" and Rico's heartfelt smile eased John's tension. He settled into the back seat, feeling a sense of comfort he hadn't expected in a foreign city. As the taxi weaved through Manila's lively streets, Rico struck up a conversation. He asked about John's family, his reasons for visiting, and listened with genuine curiosity, making John feel truly heard. When John opened up about his late wife, Rico's face softened with empathy. "I am very sorry for your loss, sir," he said, his words carrying sincere compassion that touched John deeply. The conversation soon blossomed, filled with stories, laughter, and shared moments. The taxi became a small haven of connection amid the city's chaos. Rico shared stories of his own family, his dreams for his children, and the hopes he carried for their future. His pride and love were evident in every word. As John gazed out the window at the city lights, he realized this was what he'd been searching for. A conversation built on kindness, not just efficiency or small talk. By the time they reached the hotel, John felt a deep sense of gratitude. The short ride had left him feeling moved and unexpectedly uplifted. Rico stepped out to help with John's luggage, not as a mere business gesture, but with the warmth of a friend, showing that hospitality here was more than just a service. Before leaving, Rico handed John his card. "If you need anything, please call me," he offered, his sincerity shining through. In that brief journey, John experienced the true essence of Filipino English, a language that welcomed, connected, and cared. It wasn't about perfect grammar or flawless words, but about the genuine care and humanity behind them. For the first time in a long while, John felt truly seen, understood, and embraced by the kindness of a stranger in a new land. John's encounter with Rico was just the start. Everywhere he went, he found kindness woven into daily interactions. People walked with him to give directions, vendors greeted him warmly, and strangers offered help. Filipino English wasn't always perfect, but it was always sincere. Honorifics like po and opo, gentle requests, and indirect language all prioritized respect and harmony. John realized the emotional comfort of the listener mattered as much as the words themselves. Here, language was about building relationships, not just exchanging information. He saw that true mastery wasn't about rules, it was about kindness. Immersed in this culture, John's perspective shifted. He saw beauty in so-called errors, valuing warmth over perfection. Conversations became lessons in empathy and respect. He questioned his old teaching methods. Had he focused too much on rules, not enough on compassion? True linguistic mastery, he realized, was about using language to uplift others. In the Philippines, English had become a tool for community and kindness. John found peace in this new understanding. He had come searching for a language of kindness and found it. One evening, John wrote an essay about his journey and the kindness he'd found. He posted it online, expecting little. Overnight, it went viral, shared by millions, translated worldwide. People everywhere resonated with his message. The true measure of communication is compassion, not perfection. John's story sparked a global conversation about kindness in language. He became an unlikely ambassador for a universal truth. The most authentic language is spoken from the heart. Behind every word are people, and the greatest words are those of kindness and respect. John's journey, born from grief, became a message of hope. He reminded the world true communication is about love and humanity, a language we all can speak.